Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another book video. Today I am going to go through all of my 5-star reads. My rating system, it is very hard to get a 5-star read. A lot of my books, if I really enjoy them, they will only get like a 4.75 or a 4.5. So, I read a lot of books. Clearly, I have a whole channel and TikTok dedicated to literally just books. So it might seem like I have a lot of 5-star reads, but I read a lot of books. So these being my only 5-star reads, it means they're like really good. I have 8 sitting here with me and I have a full TBR cart. So hopefully eventually I'll be able to do another one of these and go through my new 5-star reads. So if you want to see my 5-star reads, keep on watching. Okay, number 1, this whole entire series to me is rated 4.5 to 5 stars. There is not a single book that I wouldn't reread or recommend to anyone in this series, and that is the Magnolia Park series, but the one that I rated 5 stars is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. So with the Magnolia Park series, book 1 and 3 follow Magnolia and BJ, and books 2 and 4 follow Christian, Daisy, and Julian. So, however, they are all intertwined, they're all in the same friend group, the characters pop up in each of the book no matter what, but those books are like what they're really focused on. So for the 4th book, it follows Daisy, Christian, and Julian is Daisy's older brother, and these families are involved in crime and they're like drug lords, but Daisy and Christian are meant to be together. That's all I'm gonna say about them. Daisy really did not want to be a part of the crime life anymore, so she tried leaving it, but she ended up finding her way back to Christian and her brother. And then Magnolia actually has a big part in this book with Julian, and I don't want to spoil anything, but Julian is just this rough-edged gang lord who you think would never fall in love, but he ends up falling in love. And in the 3rd book, you see Magnolia's perspective of her being with Julian, and then in this book, you get to see Julian's perspective of him being with Magnolia. The quotes in this book are so amazing and beautiful, and Jess's writing is just so beautiful. She actually just announced the 5th book, which is the 3rd and final Magnolia and BJ book, Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, and I am so excited, but I have a feeling I'm just gonna bawl my eyes out by the end of it. My next 5-star read is also part of a series. It is the 2nd book in the Chestnut Springs series. It is Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is whenever I started really getting into annotating, and I love how they match the cover of the book. This follows Cade and Willa, and Cade is Rhett's older brother from the 1st book, and Willa is Summer's best friend from the 1st book. And Cade is a single dad raising his son Luke, and he needs a nanny because he's a hard worker. And that's whenever Willa comes in. It is the grumpy sunshine trope. He is grumpy and she's the sunshine in this. His nickname for her, she has like fire red hair and he calls her Red, and it is just so goddamn cute, and I freaking love them so much. Oh my gosh, like if you know Cade, if you know about Cade, then you know, but oh my god. And just like watching him melt away this hard exterior he has just because of Willa, it's like such a beautiful read. The 5th and final book of this series is also coming out soon. Elsie just did a cover reveal, and I just love it. If you like small town romances, this is as small town as it gets. I love the name of the town too. Chestnut Springs, like that's just somewhere I'd want to live. You know, they're like bull riders, cowboys, they work on farms, they have, I just picture their houses to have like a white wraparound porch like the house from The Notebook. This book, it's so good. Next book is actually a thriller, and if I rate a thriller a 5-star, you need to read it, because for a thriller to be good to me, I have to not be able to guess the ending. In this next book, let me tell you, I was not able to guess the ending. I was reading it and I was like, oh my god. It is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I know she's like the queen of thrillers. This is the first one I read by her, so I absolutely need to read more. This follows Adam and Amelia, and they are married. However, Adam has face blindness. So face blindness is actually when he can't recognize faces. He can't even recognize himself in his mirror. He can't recognize his wife. Basically, if you were talking to him and he turned to do something, he'd turn back and he'd have no idea who he is talking to. And Amelia actually wants a trip through work, and she convinces Adam to go because the marriage is kind of crumbling and she thinks this will save it. And as soon as they get there, weird things start happening, and it's clear that there's someone there who does not want them there. And that is all I'm going to say about it because I don't want to ruin anything. But this was a 5-star for me. Next, this movie actually just came out on Amazon Prime, and the fact that I liked the movie just as much as I liked the book just proves that the movie was good. Usually book to film adaptations are like not that good, but this is really good. It was really good. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston is another 5 stars for me. They are so in love. Like, they are so in love. I was kicking my feet reading this book. If you don't know what this is about, it follows Alex, which is the first son of the President of the United States, and it also follows Henry, who is the Prince of Wales. He is the heir to the throne because he has an older brother. Basically, they absolutely hate each other, but they don't hate each other. They end up not hating each other, and they end up falling in love, and it goes through just their story and why they have to hide that they're together due to Henry as a prince not being able to be openly gay. And it is just, I like don't even know how to describe it, but it is so freaking cute. Please, 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 please read this. I always suggest this, read the book before you watch the movie because it really will just bring it all together. But they're in love. They are so in love, and I was kicking my feet and giggling the whole entire time reading it. Okay, on to the next, which is also kind of like a thriller, but it's a lot like true crime. And if you're like me and you're a crime junkie, every Monday I will be on Spotify listening to the new Crime Junkie, and then every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I will be also listening to the new Morbid episodes. I'm a true crime junkie, which is very surprising because I have the worst anxiety in the whole entire world. You'd think I'd be like terrified, but I don't know, something about it is like, it's so interesting to me. But this is the first book in a series, and I rated this one 5 stars. It is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Again, if you are a true crime girly, girl, you need to read this book. Basically, this follows Pippa, who is doing her senior capstone project, who is doing her senior project on a murder that happened in her small town. The murder solved, Sal killed Andy, but she does not think that Sal killed Andy, so she goes to Sal's brother, Ravi, and they end up going through the murder and the evidence, and you get to see all the interviews she does and all the pieces coming together. There were so many moments in this book where I was like, what? Like, I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, it is like really, really good. I love a thriller or a true crime book when you just can't guess the ending. You're like shocked. Duh. But yes, 5 stars. Next. This is not because Harry Styles was the star of this movie. It was just an extra little, an extra star to add on to it. I am a Harry Styles stan. I read this book before I watched the movie. I made sure I read this book before I watched the movie. But it is My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. This actually tore my heart apart. It like completely tore my heart apart because the ending, it's just like, it's not happy, and it made me very sad. Basically, this follows Marion and Tom in 1950s Brighton. It starts when they're young, and Marion meets Tom because it is her best friend's older brother, and she's immediately smitten with him. And they ended up getting married. However, Tom eventually meets a museum curator. His name is Patrick, and he ends up falling in love with Patrick, but it is 1950s, so it is safer for Tom to stay with Marion than it is to ever be with Patrick. And so they kind of share him in a way because Marion does know, and she sees what's going on with him and Patrick, and it just goes throughout their lives together, all 3 of them. It's crushing. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. You're not going to smile at the end. You're really not, but it was a beautiful, beautiful read. The movie was just as good. Harry Styles did amazing, as well as the other actors, and it is on Amazon Prime as well. Next, a little brighter note. This is a YA novel, and I usually don't give YA novels 5 stars. the writing to me is just, you know, it's young adult. It can be childish sometimes, and I don't really like that in books. But this one was so freaking cute. Again, giggling, kicking my feet when reading it. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I know Haley Pham loves this book. In Lynn Painter's second book, it's actually, she got like a dedication shout out in the end of the acknowledgements. I have that, I still need to read it. However, this book was so freaking cute. It follows Wes and Liz, and they are childhood friends, enemies, lovers type. Wes is just like a pain in the ass to Liz, and Michael, who used to live in their town, actually moves back, and Liz has always had the biggest crush on him. So Michael moves to town, and Wes is good friends with Michael. So Liz realizes her in to Michael is Wes. So her and Wes scheme up a plan, and it just, you'll see what happens if you read it. It is beautiful, and it is so good, and I loved it so much. And if you're a rom-com girly, movie-wise, you'll love this book as well, because in the beginning of each chapter, there's actually a quote from a different rom-com. This is one of the best movies ever made. But it's actually a quote in this book. It says, "But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close, not even a little bit, not even at all." From 10 Things I Hate About You. This book, it's so cute. Let me tell you, I did not think I was going to enjoy this book at all, let alone rate it 5 stars. It is the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Now, let me tell you why I didn't think I was going to even like it. I am not a history girly. I am not. I hated it in high school. I hated any class I had to take with it in college. It's like something I cannot get into. I just like am falling asleep. Greek mythology. It's not as bad to me as history. I took mythology in high school, 2 classes of mythology in high school. And it wasn't terrible. Like, some of the things were interesting. But I'm like, if I'm reading a book, I probably wouldn't pick up something about like Greek mythology. But Steph Bohr absolutely loves this book. She has it tattooed on her. So I was like, I gotta give it a try. So I picked it up, and if you don't know what this is a retelling of Achilles and Patroclus and their story. Basically, Patroclus is a young prince, and he's exiled away from his homeland. And Patroclus kind of ends up being Achilles' like right-hand man, but they do end up falling in love. Again, if you want a happy book, don't read this. Like, I'm telling you, do not read this. Do not pick it up. Do not even think about picking it up, because the end of the book, you will cry. I am not someone who usually cries at books. I cried at this book. I literally bawled my eyes out at this book. You kind of expect it, but at the same time, you're like hoping that whatever happens doesn't happen. But it was definitely a 5-star read for me. Okay, I know I said that there was 8 books, but I just clearly can't count. The last and final book was actually one of the books that really got me back into reading. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I'm sure you know about this book. It is childhood friends to lovers. Basically, Macy and Elliot are childhood friends, and their favorite thing to do together is read, and their thing is like their favorite words. They always have a new favorite word for each other. And something happens, and Macy just completely cuts Elliot out of her life, and he's not really sure why. He kind of is, kind of isn't. It is told in alternate timelines because they run into each other when they're older, and they respark that flame that just would never ever die down. Elliot ends up learning the truth about Macy's decade-long silence and why she just completely stopped talking to him. It is so cute. It is a little sad at parts, but this is more of a happy read than any of the other ones, but it is so good. And I love this cover. It is just so cute. Christina Lauren is actually, they're 2 authors. So I think one's Christina, one's Lauren, and they just put the name together, Christina Lauren. But I think that's so cool. This book is amazing. I'm sure you've heard of it, but it really is just something that really, really got me into reading. So yeah, those are my 9 5-star reads. I know it might not seem like a lot, but I read so much, so in the grand scheme of things, it really isn't that much. But if you're looking for a good read, I would suggest any of these books to anyone. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Bye.